Hello my fellow bats, welcome back to my channel. So as many of you know by now, on October 2nd, 2021, I decided to go ahead and delete all of my social media. Specifically, I deleted Instagram, oh my gosh, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. And when I say deleted, I mean like I don't mean I just deleted the app off of my phone. I mean I legitimately deleted my accounts and then deleted the apps off of my phone. Like permanent deletion here, okay? And not like, oh, I quit it for a week and now I'm back. No, I completely got rid of my social media accounts. So first I'm going to talk about the why. It's pretty straightforward. Why I decided to delete my social media accounts. And then the second part, kind of like what happened, what has happened. And then I will talk about what I miss about social media. Yeah, because that is a factor and I would be lying if I didn't say that I didn't miss any of it at all. And then lastly, I will address the question if I will ever use social media again. So let's jump right on into it. I suppose like three main reasons, okay? Number one was two things, envy and addiction, okay? I mean, obviously scrolling through social media is just like a mindless waste of time, right? At least it can very easily get to that point. And that's one of the main reasons why many people quit social media, is because they want to stop wasting time and they just don't have the self-control to be able to keep to that handy dandy app timer thing, right? When you can just so easily like turn it off or snooze it or whatever, depending on what kind of phone you use. But I did that and I mean it was okay, but like, and I'll get into this, but it didn't really change much. Like I still did what I was doing. I still felt certain things. A lot of this has mainly to do with Instagram. I decided to delete Snapchat because I like never used it, and also it's kind of like dead and ratchet. I deleted Twitter also mainly just because I didn't use it. Twitter just wasn't really all that interesting for me. The big one was Instagram because I loved it so much. It was just, Instagram was my favorite out of all of those. The other thing was, like I said, envy. It just like, every time I like went on there and then left to go do something else or whatever, I never failed to feel discontent with myself, with my life, literally anything and everything that was going on. It just wasn't a good place to be, right? Like constantly comparing myself. We live completely different lives, right? Like why would my life look like theirs? Why should it, right? Comparing not just my life, which is something that a lot of people talk about as well, but also like my art. Like, oh, my art isn't good enough. Nothing I create is good enough. And I felt like that because I would compare myself to all these other artists on Instagram who had all these followers and all of these likes, and their work's amazing, which I mean I totally understand why they have all of that. But it was just, it made me feel worthless and not valuable. It becomes an issue when knowing something, when what you feel doesn't match what you know. Like, yeah, I intellectually know all these things, but it's like, but I don't feel like it. I don't believe it. I don't live like I believe it, you know? It got to the point where, unfortunately, I was focusing too much on the outside, what things look like on the outside, and instead of focusing on inside, what was inside. Does that make sense? It was just like a vicious cycle, and it was to the point where I stopped focusing, like I stopped cultivating myself, if that makes sense. Like I stopped paying attention or feeding my insides, like my soul, you know. I know it sounds cheesy, but just like bear with me. Like I'm sure you guys understand. Like I was just too focused on the things that didn't really matter as much, you know, as opposed to the things that do matter, like who you are, integrity, work ethic, just all of that. And I think I kind of lost myself, unfortunately. So yeah, it's it's difficult to put into words sufficiently. It kind of like distracted me from what I valued. Does that make sense? Also, another thing I noticed was that I was doing so much consumption, just consuming everything, you know, even if it didn't matter. I was just constantly consuming with minimal, zero meaningful creation. So it's just constant consumption and zero creation. Like, I never even, like, I would feel inspired maybe by looking at the work of this artist, and then I'd go and sit down and, you know, think about all these things. Like, okay, well, now I don't feel like doing anything. It's like kind of like results of like instant gratification, right? Except not. Anyways, lastly, pressure to post, pressure to post consistently, pressure to post something worth looking at, pressure to post something worth replying to or commenting on. It sucks. Like, I remember what Instagram used to be, and it's kind of depressing to think about. But yeah, I just felt too much pressure, and I was like, this is ridiculous. And you know, it's kind of like where you try to teach yourself how to not feel that pressure and just post what you want when you want. Okay, but like, it's still there. Okay, but it kind of sucks when, especially when you like create something or you put all this effort into something and it only gets like 5 likes, and you're like, what's the point? Those 5 likes matter though. I kept note of who still liked stuff, and especially people who like commented on stuff and all of that. I kept note, okay? But because of that, because there's such this huge focus on likes and whatnot and followers and shares and all of that, it's like that kind that I think it's that ruins your use of it, if that makes sense. Because then it makes you feel like, well, what's the point if no one's paying attention, right? Oh, well, it's for me. Is it really though? If you're being honest with yourself, do you really have that mental and emotional discipline to tell yourself that every time you go to create something, every time you go to post something about that thing that you created, or you do this cool edit and then like, and you want to share it with people, it kind of became less about sharing your life and things you like and all that, and more about how good you can look and how big of a reaction you can get, and just wasn't good for me. So unless you're like a business or a company or something and you're trying to get, you know, the word out there, whatever, it's just not that great. All right, next, what happened? I mean, as soon as I deleted stuff, it was kind of scary. I was like, oh my gosh, am I really doing this? Am I really getting rid of my Instagram account of everything? Yeah. But it was also kind of like a huge relief. Like, wow, I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm gonna get a good picture of something today. You know, I don't have to worry about posting. It was kind of like a huge weight came off of me, came off of my shoulders, and that was really nice. I was like, wow, I don't have to worry about it. This is great. I will say though, something that I completely forgot about and I haven't done anything about since, was that I had a second Instagram account for my blog, which I also felt pressure to post things, because when I started it, I was like, I'm going to take all my own pictures, use no stock photos, everything's going to be something that I myself create, including the photos, and I wanted the Instagram account for my blog to be this, I just had a vision for it in my head, right? But then I don't know if I just wasn't being realistic or what, but like, it got to the point where I had to start using stock photos and nothing was turning out the way I wanted it to, and I never had time to do actual photo shoots and shoot the photos that I actually wanted to shoot, etc. So when I deleted I deleted my MorellaReborn Instagram account, but I didn't delete my blog, the Instagram account for my blog. And I remembered that later, and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have deleted Instagram off of my phone, but I also didn't really trust myself to not go, you know, look at my favorite people on Instagram, see what's going on, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm still undecided about, and I also feel bad, which is another thing. Like, why did I start the Instagram account in the first place if I wasn't gonna keep up with it? And I was like, I know I shouldn't have done it. But also, it's a good way to reach people. And a lot of the people on there who did end up following me felt the same way. So, you see the conflict there? I did notice that I started spending more time, I turned to other things. Like, I started spending more time on YouTube. YouTube was the big one. The only one, really. So, it's kind of like, which indicated to me that there was a deeper issue going on. Because the reasons that, well, almost all, not all, but many of the reasons why I deleted Instagram began to crop up once I started spending more time on YouTube and watching other people and seeing their lives on YouTube, which sucks, but it did indicate, hey, this is a deeper issue, not just like social media, right? But it's an internal issue. It's not just my use of social media. It's not just all the issues going on in the world. It's not just people being fake on social media. It's also something in here, which sucked to learn. And I still haven't entirely figured it out, but yeah. Social media revealed that to me, but it also exasperated that, you know. And I've kind of seen that with YouTube, so I've had to start. When I noticed that, I went through and I got rid of a bunch of channels that I was subscribed to. I'm not saying, oh, it's all these people's fault for how I feel, right? Because, I mean, feelings are feelings. You're gonna feel them whether you want to or not, whether or not you think someone else is responsible for them. Feelings happen, okay? But the only thing you're responsible for is how you react to them. So I was like, okay, these people are like, some people, like some blog channels, for example, that I was subscribed to. I really liked them. They were cool. You know, and I'm the type I love watching vlogs, okay? Like, they're one of my favorite kind of videos. And I love making them too. But I love watching them. And for some of them, it was just like, I just could not stop comparing myself to them. Like, I could not stop wanting what they had, okay? And I was like, it sucks to be constantly discontent, okay? Like, you could talk to yourself all day, but like, at the end of the day, you need to do what you need to do in order to, you know, not feel that way. It was like, the more I cut off these things that were making me feel this way, it was like the more deeper I was able to dig on the inside to figure out what was happening. So yeah, that's, I suppose, another video for another day maybe. After I deleted my social media accounts, I also noticed that I had a habit of picking up my phone during certain situations, but then like I deleted everything, so I had nothing to go to, right? I would like pick it up whenever things got awkward, or whenever whenever I wanted to numb out or check out, whenever I was in uncomfortable situations or having conversations that I didn't really want to have, etc. All right, next is what I miss. Oh my gosh, I miss the art. Okay, I miss seeing what other people create. I miss seeing people's beautiful faces, makeup looks, getting inspired by makeup looks, watching how people do their makeup. I also miss knowing or seeing like new makeup that comes out. I have spent less, I will say that I have spent less, and that's on makeup, and that's good, but it also kind of sucks because I'm like, well, what about new eyeshadow palettes that have been coming out, right? And so I'm just like, it's good because it's causing me to like use what I have, but it's also like, if I do want to try something new, it's like, how do I know what to try? Because like the beauty community on YouTube is just it's not really all that reliable. anymore, in my opinion. So yeah, I miss the creative connection there, okay? And also just seeing how other people do succeed, like some of my favorite YouTubers I follow on there, and just like seeing all the great stuff that they get to do and create. It's just, that was encouraging. So it wasn't all just like, oh, what was me, you know? Like I said, that's like a deeper issue, and it had nothing to do with those other people, right? Which is why I'm dealing with it. Being open here, okay? Being honest. So, and then also, I really do like a lot. I miss sharing my life quickly and easily, like little ridiculous things. Like that one time, I don't remember if I caught a video of it, but do you guys remember that one time I told you? I just saw an old man with a mullet walking his Pomeranian in a stroller. Y'all remember that? Like the stupid stuff like that. Or you're just like capturing beautiful things in the moment. So just, you know, and now it's like, and which is one of the other reasons why I started my second channel, my vlog channel, because I was like, okay, well, I can't like share my life any other way, really. Facebook is just kind of there. I left Facebook because, like Snapchat and Twitter, I didn't really use it that much, and I still don't really use it that much, but it is how I stay connected with a lot of family, with other disciples, with, you know, people that if I did delete my Facebook account, I'd have no way of contacting them. And lastly, would I ever use social media again? Would I ever? Probably, I mean, maybe Snapchat, but just because, I don't know. Also not really, because like whenever I did go on there, I never really looked at any of my friends' stories, and then all the other Snapchat's just weird to me. Like, it's ratchet and not in a good way. I wouldn't get Twitter again just because I'm not really into Twitter. Like, and every time I did go on there, I'd either end up like depressed or just mad, or yeah, no, Twitter is not my thing either. Instagram, well, assuming I keep the account for my blog, I would have that, but that's different. That's more of like a, I don't want to say business, because my blog isn't really a business, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different than having a personal account, right? So probably not, because every time because I have thought about that, like before making this video, I did think, would I do it again? Would I should I? And I was like, no, because every time I thought about it, it was like all the reasons for deleting it in the first place came up. It popped up in my head, and they just made me cringe, and I was like, no, I'm not trying to, you know, put myself in a bad spot again. Even if I do figure things out and learn what I need to learn, whatever, that's great, but no, I honestly don't think I would. I wish I could say that's a hard no, but it's like, you don't know where you're gonna be in like 2 years and 5 years, right? So, but definitely right now, no. Also, I miss talking to you guys, because for a lot of you, that's like how we communicated. Let me know your thoughts on social media. Would you ever quit? Would you definitely not ever quit? Or I shouldn't say quit, but just like get rid of it, just not. I think that is it, and yeah, I guess I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.